Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Parker's Swamp. On this installment, I'm going to be showing you guys how I built this Blandings Turtle Paludarium. Now, Paludarium, Palus, I think in Greek means swamp, and so that's what this is. It's a swamp tank. But what makes a Paludarium unique and different than an aquarium is that it has a land area, designated land area, and typically has live plants growing from it. So I'm going to show you guys how I built this and then how I had to rebuild it because things didn't go totally according to plan. I am not Tanner Serpa. I've come to find out that dude's awesome. Check out his videos over at Serpa Design. I'm trying to do the same build that he did for his frog, Samson, the first time around. So you go watch that video as well and see how the master does it. And you can watch mine and see how someone who's not a master can try to do it, but then come out with something pretty cool. Like, I'm really, really pleased with this Paludarium now. So without further ado, let's jump right in.
So first things first, I grabbed a 40-gallon breeder tank. I think it was half off, so that was pretty sweet. And then this is just me undoing the box clumsily. It was harder than it looks. Got to wipe it all down and make sure that any contaminants from the shipping process are not there anymore. So I used some Clorox wipes. And then here, this is different than what Tanner did. I don't know how to cut glass and stuff, so I just picked these up from Home Depot. So then I just taped those up and got them ready to be siliconed into place. I use all-purpose silicone, 100% waterproof, clear silicone 1. This stuff is good for tanks. I've heard it from everyone, so I use it as well. I just give a little bead here, nothing too fancy. It's tougher than it looks. I mean, some of these guys make it look really easy. It is difficult, but I got both of them in place, and here I am just finishing up. There's a little crack there, but no problem because the silicone gets jammed into all the cracks. Follow it up with a line with your finger. I like to use gloves because I don't want that crap in my fingers. Now for the fun part, I try to get everything in place, and I've used some foam here that I've broken up into pieces. I use the egg crate light diffuser, the white stuff on bottom, that is supposed to disperse the weight of the stones. So I get everything in place here. I have a couple pieces of driftwood that I got from a local aquarium shop. Get them all in place here. A couple sweet pieces of rock. That one was like $40, so that was stupid. But it looks really cool. So I get everything nice and perfect, exactly the way I want it. And one of the big mistakes I made was not using enough rocks to weigh down the foam, which I'll end up using. Just an aerial view. I would definitely use more rocks. This ended up costing me big time. But the stuff that I use is great stuff. Pond and Stone. Again, I got this from Tanner and a couple other aquascapers. They really like this stuff, and I like it too. You gotta use enough rocks, and I did not do that. But it's good to work with, as you'll see in just a few seconds here. It is actually really tough once it hardens. It's tough to shape down into size. Maybe not tough, just takes a lot of work. Made sure to put a paper towel in the cup so that the foam doesn't fill that up and I can put a plant in there. Paper towel actually works really well to keep the foam out of there. And here is one of my biggest mistakes. Don't do this. Look, there's no stone there to keep all that foam down, so the foam is going to end up floating. Any little space and the water's going to get in and make it float. And like what happened with mine, the whole thing eventually begins to float. But here's the hardened product. It's great. It's really cool. It fits the form, and all you have to do is carve it down to size, which is easier said than done. Now to take out the paper towel and get to carving. The exterior of the foam gets really hard, but once you're in, it's nice and soft and you can carve it much easier. It's just that surface is the real tricky part. Like I said, it takes a long time. It is tedious, it is arduous, it is tough. I mean, I really like using this foam, but I won't be using as much in the future. Then I use a shop vac to get all the pieces out. It's really hard to get all the pieces out, but a shop vac does the trick pretty well. Go over it a couple times and you'll be set. Now we're ready to silicone and add some sand. So I actually I got antsy and I forgot to record, but I siliconed this up. I painted it on with a brush, and then I pushed all the sand down into the foam to really make sure that the sand stays in place. I used all-purpose sand from Home Depot or one of those stores. All-purpose sand is supposed to be good. It's supposed to be clean. It's actually pretty dirty. You have to wash it out a lot. All sand's going to be dirty, except aquarium sand. Aquarium sand is pretty clean, except the grains are going to be a lot larger than other types of sand. Here I have a cocoa fiber mat, which people usually use in their planters, but I'm going to be using as my background. So I silicone that in, and it stays really, really nice, and then we're going to continue the decoration from there. I really like using this cocoa fiber background because it stays in place really well and it gives the tank a natural look. Also, you can use driftwood like I'm doing here. I turned the tank on its side and then I foamed in this driftwood in order to make the background pop, in order to give it some contours and give context and make it look like a bank is, jutting out from the side. Also, the Blandings turtles love climbing up on here to sun, to bask, to escape one another, and to try and escape the tank. One of them has got out from here, so be careful with that. But you're definitely going to want to add some background, even if you don't do anything else. If you use the cocoa fiber mat and you foam in some driftwood, it's going to look amazing. Again, back to my favorite activity, carving up the foam. This is important though, because we need that rough texture in order for the silicone to take root, to be jammed into all those little crevices, which is then going to hold more cocoa fiber and make this background continue to look natural and pop. So here I am adding a little bit more silicone. I then used a brush and brushed it all in and made it sure it was in every little crack, because where you don't put it, there's not going to be any cocoa fiber. Unfortunately, I totally forgot to do the cocoa fiber part. Either I forgot to, or I was nervous of getting all the silicone on the camera. But as you can see, I'm really pushing it in all those cracks and crevices. It's okay if you get it on some of the wood because the cocoa fiber is going to look natural there anyways. Now I begin making the substrate for the land portion of the paludarium. I'm using sphagnum moss and Eco Earth cocoa fiber. I'm also using orchid bark and charcoal, different types of charcoal. I'm using the charcoal that you use in your turtle filters, as well as horticultural charcoal, which I've heard helps with the drainage. I know that's debated, but might as well use it just in case. I want this substrate to be nice and spongy. I want it to be wet and hold moisture for the plants that I'm going to use, but I don't want it to get compressed down so that the turtles can't get into it, or so that the roots can't get the movement that they need or the oxygen. I heard that it's nice when your soil does not compress down, and I think that makes sense. So here I'm adding some more activated charcoal, the charcoal that you'll use in your turtle filters and such, and this is supposed to help with any kind of smell. So just in case the turtles do pee in there or whatever, we got some activated charcoal to help with that. Here I am just filling up the Paludarium area. You can see the tank is all set here. I put leaves in there, Indian almond leaves and oak leaves. I have the sand already in there in the bottom. I have a bubbler running because I saw that that's how Garden State Tortoise, how they set up their baby turtles as well. Some water lettuce here, which is not doing as well because it was grown outdoors and meant for outdoors, but as you can see, there's already Blandings turtles sunning themselves on the various bank areas. Here you see a golden pothos plant with its roots going down into the gravel and then down into the water of the tank, and it's going to help suck out some nitrates for me. As you can see, the Blandings turtles already love using this basking area. They're getting the UVB light, and they're also getting the basking lamp as well. I decided to go with the Zoomed Labs full spectrum light fixture there, and I have a UVB bulb. I tried to hang it in various ways, but the easiest thing turned out to be just using Velcro. And so that thing is stuck in place, it's not going anywhere. But then, unfortunately, the whole bank started to float. All that foam was more buoyant than the rocks. I should have used more rocks, but it all started to float up, and so I had to make some changes. I took all the foam back out, but the background was still perfect, and the land area was still perfect. No leaks or anything. So I used that big, expensive rock again right there so that the Blandings could climb up, and then I used these cork bark rounds, which I sawed at an angle in order to slide them down over the glass and make a really tight fit. So now they can climb into the cork round and use it as a cave. They can climb up and sun, and the whole thing turned out to be much better. I actually like this much more because the Blandings turtles have more area to swim, the guppies have more space to breed, the snails have more surface area. It just worked out much better that I was a complete failure. And instead of an air stone, I decided to use a filter, but instead of using activated charcoal inside the filter, I jammed it full of filter floss as well as aquarium sponge. I ripped it up and put it in there so that I still get the anaerobic as well as the aerobic bacteria. And this way I'm not pulling out all the nitrates and starving the plants, but I'm just filtering them through and creating enough surface tension to break up any kind of that gunk as well as help the plants feed. The Blandings turtles love the Paludarium. They love the land area. They can go up there and just hang out. They can bask on the cork bark. They can also dig into the substrate and estivate to escape the heat when they're feeling too hot. They also love hunting. As you can see right here, they will eat guppies and snails. I also have Mexican dwarf crayfish that I'm breeding that I put in there. I have all sorts of shrimp that I'm breeding in order to help them get the keratins they need to have that nice yellow throat. So thanks for watching, guys. If you like this video, please give it a like, give it a share, leave me your comments. Let me know what you guys think. What should I have done differently? What can I do differently in the future when I do future builds for these guys and for all the other turtles that I have in Parker's Swamp? I forgot to mention that the grass growing out, that beautiful lush grass, is Acorus gramineus, and it is thriving in there. So enjoy this footage of the Blandings turtles enjoying their new Paludarium.